Hi, this is Jay Schenirer, and I know that we have a few folks who have tuned in. As we get started here, what I really wanted to do was just find another avenue to talk to people, be able to answer questions in these really difficult times. I'm going to start out with just a couple of things that the City Council did last night that I think are important, and then answer questions as I go forward. We did two things that I think are really important and connected to COVID. One is there has been a task force on homelessness that really consists of the county, the city, and Sacramento Steps Forward, who've been working out a plan to use federal stimulus dollars, state dollars, and other monies from the city to figure out what to do in this time of COVID. They put together a $15 million plan, which the council approved last night, which could result in about 1,000 beds for homeless individuals, those who are unsheltered, who are at risk of being infected with the virus. That will start very soon. About 850 of those beds are in motels. That'll be run by the county. The rest are either in trailers or in expanding current capacity at some of the shelters that we have today. So that's something that we're working on. We'll continue to work on, but it's nice that we finally have some resources, again, both from the federal stimulus dollars, from the state HEAP dollars and HAP dollars, and then other funds, private and public, that we've put together. The other thing that we did last night, and we've had a conversation about this for quite a while, is thinking about what to do about our playgrounds, our sports courts like basketball courts, our tennis courts, and really understand within our parks what we should be doing to ensure people are doing social distancing. We've had a lot of calls and complaints about particularly basketball courts and having 15 or 20 kids out either playing or waiting for their games. The city of Davis recently did something to close down those courts, as did the city of New York. We've been following the guidance of the county health director, Peter Bielenson, who put out information yesterday that said we should be closing those down. So we will be doing that. We understand that there's a balance here and we want young people to be able to get out. Our parks and open spaces will still be open for everyone, and hopefully people can keep their social distancing. So those are the two things that we did yesterday. Let me respond to something here. Jay, can you tell us why the police are still clearing camps when CDC has recommended that they not? Our police are not clearing encampments. Part of what we did last night was part of the plan was how to deal with encampments. For example, we will be delivering food to the encampments. We want to make sure that those folks stay sheltered in place as well. And so that's something that we'll be doing starting immediately. I think we have somewhere between 250 and 500 food deliveries that we'll be making on an ongoing basis. So that's that piece. Otherwise, we think that the city has really tried to respond as well as we can to all of the things going on. A couple things that we're doing in addition to what I talked about from last night. One is we have started a donation fund. It's called Donate for Sacramento, just the number 4. And within 2 weeks, we've now raised over $1 million. Those contributions have been from over 600 individuals and businesses, anywhere from $5 donations up to one donation of $300,000. I particularly want to thank Sierra Health Foundation at $150,000, HealthNet at $150,000, the California Wellness Foundation at $50,000, Comcast at $30,000, a number of folks at $10,000 and $15,000, $25,000 as well. What we're doing with those funds is people are allowed to donate or able to donate to one of 5 categories. They can donate to helping our unsheltered. Those funds are running through Sacramento Steps Forward and will help implement the plan that I was just talking about. They can donate to small businesses. We know that that's the lifeblood of our economy, and those funds will flow through the Asian Chamber of Commerce into loans for small business, particularly those owned by folks of color. The third thing that we're looking at is nonprofit organizations. Sacramento Region Community Foundation is the intermediary on that one. And then we're also looking at individuals and their families and how we might be able to help them. United Way is the intermediary on that, and those funds will flow through United Way into folks that they contract with, like Birth and Beyond, the Black Child Legacy Fund, and others. The fifth category is just a general category that is being really operated by Sierra Health Foundation. The one grant that has come out of there is $167,000 for the Sacramento Food Bank. We know that Sac City Unified has been doing a great job getting hundreds of thousands of meals out to their kids, but that wasn't helping the families in a lot of ways. So the funding that we are giving to the food bank will help them put together boxes of food for the families as well. So let me see what else we have here. We know that we're back to on the homeless encampments, and again, we are not doing those clearings. We are not doing sweeps, and we will be working with those in the homeless encampments to make sure that they get what they need, that we have the ability to do and the capacity to do. The other things that we've been doing for the city is we put together $1 million fund for small business loans, and that's been decided on. We had somewhere around 4,000 partial or completed applications for those loans. The city looked at 101 businesses, and those loans are currently going out. Those are anywhere up to $25,000 per. What we're hoping people do with them, and we tried to have very few strings attached, but what we're hoping people will do is keep employees on. We did a press call on that last week, had a few folks, someone from Oak Park was able to, even though her business is closed, she talked about her ability now to keep her 4 employees employed, hopefully for the period of time that we're going until they can reopen again. We also know that our restaurants are hurting. As the mayor is actually looking at, or they're putting out $25,000 into donations for restaurants to help them as well. So I also got something that says, can you clarify local guidance about masks? Are we okay to walk our dogs without the face masks? My understanding of this is that if you're able to social distance, you don't need the mask. If you're not able to social distance, then you should. And that is what my wife and I are doing as we take our daily walks around the park as well. Let me see if I have anything else here. If for more specific information, I would go to the county website. Peter Billinson, I think, has done a great job leading us, who is the county mental health director, or the county health director rather, and really has been instrumental in providing guidance. We don't have a health department as a city. It's not something that we do. And so we're working really hand in hand. And on the homeless issue, really working well with the county at this point to make sure we're coordinated and doing the right things together. So let me look at this. Can you speak about guidance on enjoying city parks? That comes from Joe Flores, who is the parks person who sits on the Parks Commission for District 5 for our district. Again, using the parks, we are asking people, and we will probably be putting up tape on this, not to use the sports courts, so no basketball games, no tennis courts. Tennis might seem okay, but if you're handling tennis balls, that's something that is potentially dangerous, and particularly not using the playgrounds for young kids. The open spaces will remain open, and we hope that people enjoy those, enjoy walks around the park, whatever you're doing there, but keeping in mind the social distancing guidance that we've seen. Let me see if I have others. So our hope is to do these about once a week. This is the first time we've done it, and frankly, this is the first time that I've done something like this, but always looking for new ways to communicate with our folks and see what we can do. The other thing that the city did a little bit to go back to the homelessness piece is put out $250,000 to provide sanitation kits that are going out to homeless individuals. and that is particularly in the encampments. We want to make sure that those sanitation kits get out. We have tried to mobilize our staffs to think about what else we can be doing. The other pieces of the puzzle here are for the city that we got. We will be getting federal stimulus dollars, and that discussion will happen very soon about what to do with that. So I got another question. Can kids outside around your home? Can kids outside around you home like backyard? I'm not exactly sure what that question is. I mean, certainly kids can be outside your homes. That would be fine within the family. If there are others, then the social distancing guidance really is the same. I'm looking at something else here just to read. The Sacramento County Health extended the COVID order to May 1st. What we can do is we will put up a link on our website and we can send it out with our next newsletter. So people will see the actual social distancing requirements, protocols, and what are essential business activities. We know that, I just want to say to all the businesses out there, we know that folks are hurting. I'm a small business person as well, and I know what it's like here. So we want to send out really our support as much as we can for small businesses. My wife and I are trying to eat out a couple of times a week and do takeout, something we haven't done much of before, but anything we can do to support our restaurants who are really hurting. Hello, Jay. What about doctor's offices and UCD appointments? Some patients with COVID-19 are there at UC Davis. I have a lot of confidence. UC Davis is one of the best hospital systems in the country. I have a lot of confidence of how they're working with people to make sure that when you're going to see your doctor, you're not interacting with COVID patients. Question is the city working on plans for gradually resuming activities? That's a great question. I think that the answer to that point is we're not quite there yet. We are really scrubbing our budget right now. We've put on a hiring freeze for all non-essential positions. We're looking at what the loss will be to us on sales tax and other types of taxes, and it will be very, very significant. We're still waiting for direction from the federal government about the federal stimulus dollars, what they can and cannot be used for. And those dollars for the city will probably amount to about $88 million, which sounds like a lot of money. But in the scope of our entire budget and what we're going to be losing, we're going to be behind. So what the city has been doing right now, and we will probably bring forward a status quo budget within the next few weeks to pass for next year, so that we can get going and then be taking a look at it as we go forward. Sorry, can your kids be outside in the backyard? I don't see any reason why they couldn't be outside in the backyard, particularly if it's within your family. But thank you, Dennis, for clarifying the question. Appreciate that. So I did get a note again from Joe Flores, our Parks Commissioner, wanting me to emphasize that we should be supporting local businesses. I totally agree, especially their online stores. Anything that we can do to keep our economy moving at any level is going to be helpful. So really focusing on purchasing for your small businesses. So I got another question here. Hello, Jay, and thanks for this communication. Is there a way to help Southland Park neighbors as an average resident? We are blessed with a great neighborhood, and we are seeing folks about, but not everyone is digital social media. I worry about seniors. I do worry about seniors, and I know my colleague Eric Guerra has brought up a lot of that as we've talked about. Certainly mental health issues. We know that people are being shut in or quarantined. That's something that we need to really think about. If we have volunteers or you're interested in volunteering in any of this, please send a note to our office and we'll pass that on to the appropriate people in Sacramento who are trying to help with that. I know, for example, the food bank needs volunteers. A lot of the volunteers at food banks across the city have been seniors for the most part, who are not really able to continue their volunteering efforts. So while the National Guard has been called out in a lot of ways, and I saw them working at one of the food bank warehouses, which was phenomenal, we can always use more volunteers. I think that we also need to think about how we can talk to our neighbors and talk about what's going on. I think the relationship piece that's happening now, because so many people are by themselves in their homes, is really important. Think about calling a neighbor if you know someone who is a senior who may need that communication. Picking up the phone and calling is going to be really important and will mean a lot to them. We also started last night a conversation about teens. We had, very, very unfortunately, we had 2 young people take their own lives a couple of days ago. That really spurred a conversation about mental health for young people. We know that staying in their homes is a very difficult thing for them. We know that so many young people, particularly high school seniors, are missing out on the whole experience about graduating as they apply to the next stage, to college, and for the next stage of their life. So that's something that we're going to try to come back with some ideas within the next couple of weeks about what we can do. I know our pop-ups, where we've had Friday and Saturday night gyms open and things like that, are starting to go virtual. We've had some success with that. We'll continue to do it, but always looking for ideas about what folks can do. For volunteer opportunities, you can also go to Hands on Sacramento. That's who we are sending people to when they call us. So Hands on Sacramento would be the place to go. I got a note saying thank you for all that you do. So thank you for recognizing that. I know the council is working hard. I know city manager and management and everyone at the city is just working so hard to do everything we can. Appreciate not kind words about both the mayor and myself, and we are definitely doing our best to stay safe as well. For many people, I know it's a whole new way of communicating with people. I'm probably on a Zoom call 5 or 6 different times a day. For my friends who are Jewish, I want to wish them all a happy Passover. We have our first Seder tonight, which will be a Zoom Seder. The advantage there, obviously, is you can bring people from all over. My children in Seattle and in Austin, Texas will be joining us, something we wouldn't normally do for a holiday. So there is some silver lining there about what we can do. I'm just going to take a second here, as I've been talking for about 20 minutes, something I normally don't do as well. I'd really like to encourage folks, if you have thoughts and ideas about what the city could be doing to better support Sacramentans, please let our office know. I have a great staff, Allison, Joe, who is my chief of staff, and then Hillary and Ulysses and Jasleen, who are working every day on trying to answer questions that we get from all of our constituents across the board. And they'll continue to do that. We're all working remotely, as most everyone is. I believe there's probably about 100 folks still working at City Hall out of the few thousand that are there on a normal basis. Any other questions from folks? I think what we're going to try to do is we'll continue to do this. We'll just take Wednesdays at 1:00. If that doesn't work, we'll advertise whatever time is appropriate to do it, and that works into our schedules. But I do want to say thank you to a number of folks. I want to make sure that we recognize Sacramento Food Bank for what they're doing. Blake Young, who's the executive director there, and all the way going back to Father Dan Madigan, and I had the honor and privilege of working there for a couple of years back in the 90s, have just done a great job really supporting what's happening in the city and filling in voids and being able to step up. And I'm excited that we can help in the city. The Donate for Sacramento Fund has been able to help with that. I have a question. Is it safe for elderly to be outside around the house or working in the yard? I had someone text me. I think if an individual is doing that and they're on their own, they're keeping the social distance guidance up. I don't see any problem with that. I personally think people should be going outside. I know some cities are looking at that. I think more in areas where you're clustered with other individuals. That's what we want to keep out of. I'm certainly not a doctor, and I'm not a health expert on that, but that's my understanding. My recommendation, if people have questions, is go to the county website, County of Sacramento, and look at the guidance. They are putting out every day almost more information for people to take a look at. Anyway, so I think what we might do, since we really don't have any other questions at this point, is we'll call this a day as a, sorry. Any ideas about how to ensure meaningful community engagement in these times? Folks without internet or broadband can't hop on a Zoom call. That's right. And let me throw back the question to anybody who might be watching this. It's a hard thing. I think it does come down to communities. It does come down to using the telephone. And if you know individuals, give them a call. That might not seem like a lot, but I think it's really important to keep connected and keep individuals connected with each other. We will, I do a monthly newsletter, and we're actually sending them out weekly now. If you're not on our email list, please send us your email. You can do it jay@cityofsacramento.org. If you send us your email, we'll make sure that you get everything that we have. And, again, as I said, anything that comes out that we think is important for people to see, we're pushing out. We have about 7,000 people on our mailing list. So that's one way to do it. We're committed. You have a city council to a person that is working very hard to do everything that we can. I think our city is certainly at the forefront of taking action and being activated. We have a mayor who's very active in many, many different areas and has been great. So that would be, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong email. I gave you my work email, but if you can go, it's just, if you go to the city website, it's very hard to do everything that we can. I think our city is certainly at the forefront